Hello, good morning to everyone. We want to welcome you all to this. This is the first in a series of international talks that we hope to have with inspirational people from all fields related to STEM. This talk has been organized by the STEM Club of the Polo Educacional Sesc. Just to tell you a little bit about our school, we're a residential high school here in Rio de Janeiro with boarders and day students, approximately 400, who are selected from all over the country, all the states of Brazil. And our school's mission is to educate young Brazilians for intellectual autonomy, creativity, and social commitment. So we aim to provide a general, all-round, high-quality education for our students. All of this is free, maintained, and financed by Sesc, which is the Brazilian trade sector's social services organization. This talk has been organized by the school's STEM Club, which is run by our maths teacher, Charles Pimentel, Isaac Cesares from our IT department, and also the maths teachers, Carolina França and Gisele Ribeiro. And it is also represented here today by one of our students, Enzo, a student here at the Polo Educacional Sesc. And we're also very happy to be joined by young Guilherme, who is a student from UFRJ, the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. Good morning, guys. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you very much for being here. So like I said, the idea of this talk is that it's the first in a series of international talks that we hope to have with this inspirational people from the field of STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mechanics. And we're very, very happy today to be able to kick off the series with an amazing guest speaker. We were looking at his biography yesterday, preparing for this talk, and we were just awestruck. There's so much that he has to teach us, so much that we can learn from his life, from his career. And I just have to say we were astonished by everything our guest has managed to accomplish over the years. It was actually difficult to try and think of what we would talk about because there's so much to choose from. He is the former director of engineering for the U.S. Air Force's Special Operations Command. He's a NASA engineer at the Kennedy Space Center. He's been a member of NASA's Speakers Bureau for over 12 years, the Solar System Ambassador for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. He's won in 2018, he was awarded NASA's Speakers Inspire Award for speaking with over 21,000 students in 2017. He has visited more than 430 schools throughout the US, speaking to more than 76,000 students in kindergarten to college level. And he has also visited 210 schools internationally, including in Australia, Brazil, Denmark, England, Germany, India, Qatar, Norway, Singapore, Sweden, and Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, speaking to more than 56,000 students. As if this weren't enough, he's also been for the past 14 years a member of the Kennedy Space Center's Disability Awareness and Action Working Group, which is devoted to improving the work environment for personnel with disabilities. And finally, when you think there's no more to do, he is actually also the sighted guide for a triathlete who is blind. So we're very, very happy. Please give a warm welcome to Gabe Gabrielle. Gabe Gabrielle, good morning.
Good morning, bom dia.
Bom dia, bom dia. Gabe has actually been to Brazil 21 times, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And every time has been so much fun. I'm so thankful.
Wonderful. Gabe, I want to start today. Like I said, it's incredibly difficult to define you. So I'm going to throw this question to you. Can you tell us, in your own words, who is Gabe Gabrielle?
I'm a fun-loving beach bum. I love sports and I love the beach and I love enjoying life. And one of the things that's so important for me when I do these presentations in person or even online, I want the kids to understand life should be fun, and you can be successful and have fun. And I always talk about three things. You know, you're always going to hear as a kid or as a student or any part in your life, you're going to hear, if you want to be successful, you must work hard. If you want to do well in school, you must work hard. If you want to do well in sports, you must work hard. If you want to do well at anything, unless you work hard, extremely hard, you can never be successful. And you're surrounded by stress and pressure, and life is really challenging, but it shouldn't be. So I want to say to all of you, you never have to work and nothing ever has to be hard. Your life can be fun. No stress, no pressure, just enjoy your life. If you think about three things, and we will talk about this as we progress through, but just think of these three things. And normally I will have a little more time, explain it a little bit more, but think of these three things every day. Do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. It is so simple. And the most challenging part is to believe in yourself. And I will explain a little bit how you can do that as we progress through that. But it's all mental, and you can have fun with your life. And Brazilians, to me, I love being around Brazilians because you are so much fun. You like to hug, you like to be part, you're always happy. And I've been to many homes and been to barbecues, and so I know it's great. And so for the Brazilians in particular, I want you to know your life can be fun.
Gabe, let's start with one more question.
Yes.
And we all would like to know, how did you become as an engineer? Like, is it open to anyone, or do you have to be a US citizen, for example? And what's like to work there?
When I come to Brazil, I'm kind of fascinated at how the Brazilians look at NASA. You really elevate NASA to this extremely high position where many people want to go, and they really think they can't because they think it's not attainable. It is challenging for Brazilians because you have to be an American citizen to work at NASA. So if you want to come to NASA, your foremost challenge is you have to get to America to establish residency and establish citizenship, and then you can apply to NASA. Applying to NASA is like applying to any other job anywhere. And there's actually a website, usajobs.com. You can go and see what's available at NASA and the qualifications, but you must be an American citizen. So for Brazilians, you really have two ways to get here. And the first for me is through school. You can come to high school in America, you can come through bachelor's, and you can come through graduate school. All of these have many, many programs for international students. So one of the first things you would like to do if you want to come to America and possibly work for NASA. But I'm also, the Brazilian Space Agency is in Brazil, and I try to encourage students to go to the Brazilian Space Agency. Your space program at one time was very good, and I'm not saying it's not now, but there was a bad accident, I think about 15 years ago, which really set back your program. So now it seems like you've partnered with America in different things, and I would encourage all Brazilians, first of all, to try to go through the Brazilian Space Agency. If you can do that and get some experience, that will help you if you want to apply for NASA down the road. So for me, I tell the story of how I hated school. I did terrible in school. I flunked everything I ever took because I love the beach and I love sports. So when I was a little kid, they dragged me off the beach and they put me in a box and they said, read. And it was very, very difficult, extremely challenging. I didn't want to be there. And to make it worse, I have a twin sister. My twin sister loved school. When she was 3 years old, she knew she wanted to be a teacher somehow. So she loved school. So when you're twins or you have a brother, sister close in age, you're always compared. So my sister was always the smart twin. I was the not so smart twin. My sister was the twin who never got in trouble. I was the twin who always got in trouble. And I drove my parents crazy. Why can't you be like your sister? She never causes us problems. All you do is create problems. And when they would say that to me, I would think, well, my sister, she loves school. I hate school. Why do I want to be like her? So it was really, really a struggle. I didn't want to go to high school. I had no desire to go to high school, but in America, we have to go. So going in high school, I said, okay, I know we have good sports program. I'm just going to go to high school to play sports. Nothing else, just to play sports. I'll do what I have to, but I'm only to play sports. So I managed to get through high school. When I finished high school, I said, I'm never going back to school again. There's not enough money to drag me back. So my first job was at McDonald's, flipping burgers and making fries. It was awesome. No homework, no tests, hanging out with my friends. I thought, I found out what I want to do. I can flip burgers. But my hobby is racing cars and building cars, and I couldn't generate the income. So for 12 years, I tried many different things. I was a mechanic, I drove a bus, anything I could find to try to generate the income. After 12 years, I realized this isn't working. I have to go to university. So I went to university at night. It took me 8 years of night school to get through university. So 20 years after I finished high school, I finished university, and it was the best thing I ever did. And when I speak with students, I tell them, you don't have to be super smart. I used to think you had to be so smart to go to university, but you don't. You just have to be determined. And if you're determined and you stay positive, you can get through university. And I use myself an example. If I can do it, so can you. So this led me to an opportunity. I was in the Air Force. When I got out of the Air Force, when I was in the Air Force, I saw the very first shuttle launch. When I saw that shuttle launch, I thought, wow, this is really amazing. This is something I'd like to do. So when I got out of the Air Force, I applied for a job at NASA, and I got it. Now, I'm not a real NASA engineer, as you guys call me. I'm a contractor engineer for NASA, which means NASA has contracted the company I work for to do certain things that they don't do internally. But I still am at Kennedy Space Center every day, and other than where the check comes from, there's really no big difference. So I know it was a lengthy answer, but I'd like to give kids a little bit of insight into what got me to where I am.
Oh, that's fine, Gabe. Thank you. Actually, that's what I would like to ask you, because as a college student, I really see myself in the situation. You know, a college school can be very boring and very, very stressful. There's a lot of pressure, as you told us, and especially here in Brazil. I mean, in the States, you have the SAT exam, right? And students at this time of their life, they are very, very like thinking that the world is gonna end if they don't go to school, don't get a job, a really good job, a degree or something like that. And I mean, you seem like that you deal with that very good. And you had the fun of time, and after that you got to school. But how would you change that? There is something in school that you like most about it. I mean, you told us about sport, but at college, did you like college? Did you like the classes? How was it going?
I went to university different than I did the other schools because I went to university with a purpose. You know, I knew it was going to get me where I wanted to go. If they said, Gabe, you can have this, I went to school to get a piece of paper, basically, not to learn anything. And I don't mean a knock on school, but I'd been an adult for a long time, and I had a lot of confidence, and I believed I could do anything, but I couldn't get the opportunity because I hadn't been to university. So I really went to school just to get that piece of paper to open doors for me. But I enjoyed it because I went with a much different attitude than I did in elementary and middle and high school. If I could do it over, you know, I wouldn't change much in my life, but I definitely would approach my early school years differently. But you mentioned something about the stress and the pressure. And listen, you don't need stress and you don't need pressure, and you don't have to work hard. You have to understand all stress, all pressure is self-induced. We do that to ourselves because we think we have something we might not be able to accomplish, or we're concerned about the inability to do something correctly or get a high enough grade. But I want to revert back to those three things. If you just do these three things every day, challenge yourself, do your best, enjoy what you do, and believe in yourself. If you do your best, you should feel exceptionally good about the outcome. It doesn't matter what happened. Feel good that you did your best. If it's not what you want, just do it again. You will get better, and keep doing it until you get what you want. But always feel good about your effort. This helps build confidence. Enjoy everything you do. You can sit here right now in this interview and have fun and enjoy it, or you can be wishing you were somewhere else. Either way, you're going to do it. So you've got to channel your mind into enjoying everything. And the most important is that belief in yourself. And we will talk a little bit more about that. But when you get that belief in yourself, you do that by going slow. You know, you have a dream, you turn it into a goal, and you plan the steps and plan small steps. Each step will give you confidence. The more confidence you have, the easier it becomes. So you build and you build, and one day you will say to yourself, I can do anything. And when you believe that, you will never stress, you will never have pressure. When asked to do something, you will say, I can do it, just go do it. It's all mental. And to me, this is my main focus when I speak with students. Enjoy your life. It's possible to enjoy your life and be successful at the same time.
Gabe, thank you very, very much for that answer. I think it's particularly pertinent for our final year students here, because they get this impression, oh my God, I'm in my final year at high school. I have to make now my decision about my life, you know, where my life is going to be, and it's going to be a final decision. And if I get it wrong, then my whole life is going to go downhill. And I think it's so refreshing for them to hear this idea that no, this is a decision. It's an important decision, but it's one that they can rethink. And this idea of the little steps that you take, and you can change direction as well. Yeah. In your case, you were talking about the small steps, and in the end, you ended up working for NASA. Yeah. I mean, when did that become the goal? You talked about the first shuttle launch. Yeah. And what were the small steps that came before you got there? And what was the first step you took? Can you talk a little bit about that? Well, then I would just like to join this with another question. What is it actually like to work for a space agency?
Okay, so my phone is going off. I'm sorry for that, but so could you repeat that again? Because the phone really distracted me, just quickly.
Okay, so you were talking about the little steps that you took. Okay,
I remember now. I'm good. Okay, so yeah, so I was in the Air Force, and I was stationed at Patrick Air Force Base, which is in Cocoa Beach, which is right close to NASA. And I'm always on the beach. I'm always on the beach having fun. Every chance I can, I go to the beach. So I was on the beach, and I got to see a shuttle launch, the very first shuttle launch from the beach. And actually, a friend of mine had won an award, and we got to go on Kennedy Space Center, which is about 5 kilometers away from the launch site. The general public is usually about 50 kilometers away. So on Kennedy Space Center, and I'm going to show you a launch in a little while, what it's like to see this, and you'll understand why it was so fascinating for me. So once I saw that launch, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. You know, I'd love to kind of do this. How can I do this? So my first step was to get out of the Air Force. So once I got out of the Air Force, I started applying for positions at NASA and as a contractor. It's more challenging to go to NASA as a direct NASA employee than as a contractor, because NASA has thousands and thousands and thousands of contractors working for them, but not so much directly on NASA's direct payroll. So it was easier for me. Plus, I had known a lot of people there. And so I was able to get a connection. It always helps to have friends. And I got a job on Cape Canaveral Air Station, which adjoins NASA. So once I was on Cape Canaveral Air Station, then my next step was, well, how do I get on NASA? And so I was able to find jobs and openings and progress from Cape Canaveral Air Station to NASA's Kennedy Space Center. And so that was how my journey took me there. But I always had fun. You know, I always talk about having fun with life. And you want to try to simplify things and only take life one day at a time. If you can wake up every morning and say to yourself, I don't care what happens, I'm going to be happy just for one day, only one day. It doesn't matter about yesterday. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to focus on today. And whatever I do, I'm going to have fun doing it. And if you do that every day, one day at a time. And it's really, really simple. People are usually so involved in looking back or looking ahead, they forget to enjoy where they are. And so every day as we pass through it, you know, we create our past and we build our future. So a happy day creates a happy past and an optimistic future. And you want to approach that every day that way. Just this one day. I'm just going to have fun one day, enjoy everything I do. And this is, for me, what has, you know, how I've led my life. And I've been very, very, very fortunate. I'm always thankful every day. No matter what happens, I'm extremely thankful. And if something happens that's not maybe so good, I say to myself, it could be worse. Then it becomes good. So I never have a bad experience. And this is what you want to try to train yourselves to do. It's 100% mental, 100% mental. And everybody can do it. But it stems from that belief in yourself. And that's so important. And that very few people have that. That's why people bully. That's why they have stress. That's why they have pressure. They don't have that inner belief in themselves. And they've got to learn to do that. And you do that again by building slowly. Slow, slow, slow. People always in a hurry. And I'm guilty of that as well. You know, I try to slow things down a little bit so you can enjoy it. And I think you asked me, what's it like to be on a space center? Okay, so I'm going to show a little movie. I will try to show this movie on what it's like to be on a space center. Okay, so in NASA, there are many space agencies around America. I'm at Kennedy Space Center, which is in Florida. There's also a very famous space center called Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. And this is where the astronauts live and train. So they live and train in Houston. When there's a launch, they come to Florida, they go to space, they come back, then they go back to Houston where they live. So this is a little movie. When you ask what it's like to be on a space center, this is a little movie about what it's like to be on Johnson Space Center.
NASA Johnson style. Johnson style. Welcome to NASA's Johnson Space Center. We are coming in hot, so don't burn up as we enter. We do science every day that affects your daily life. Throw them up for manned spaceflight. Science everywhere as we engineer the marvels that fly through the air and take us way beyond Earth's level. Science everywhere because we engineer the marvels that fly through the air, flies us through the air. Control the mission out of Johnson. This is ground, and this is space. Tell me, Houston, what's the problem? It's okay, oh it's okay, because the flight controllers on the job today. NASA Johnson style. Johnson style. NASA Johnson style. Johnson style. NASA Johnson style. Hey, science Navy. NASA Johnson style. Hey, it's amazing. NASA Johnson style. Orbiting Earth. International Space Station, where we work and live in space with a crew from several nations. Got Japanese and Russians and that European charm. Throw 'em up like the Canada arm. Kicking out research. 29K cubic feet revolves around the Earth. Science microgravity revolves around the Earth. Columbus jamming destiny. Kicking out research. Kicking out research. Train the astro, NASA Johnson, to go to space, to go to space, cause the mission of tomorrow starts today, it starts today, as we engineer the future day by day. NASA Johnson style. Johnson style. NASA Johnson style. Johnson style. NASA Johnson style. Hey, science Navy. NASA Johnson style. Hey, it's amazing. NASA Johnson style. Flying more. SLS and PCV, we cannot feel the floor. Cause the lack of gravity, the destinations are an asteroid, Mars, or the moon. We are blasting off, start the countdown soon.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, science NASA Johnson style. Hey, it's amazing. NASA Johnson style.
Okay, so am I back with you?
Yes, yes. That was excellent.
Yeah, I just love it, Gabe.
Okay, so you can see me now, or do I have to stop sharing? Are we okay?
No, we can see you. We can see you, yes.
Okay, so I always tell the kids it's magical to be at NASA. You can you imagine driving into work and seeing them building spaceships, or go on to these amazing buildings like the VAB where they assemble everything and then watch it go out to the launch site, and to see a launch on the Space Center where you're only 5 kilometers away is super cool. And we will do a little bit about that in the next few questions. But yeah, it's magical. I love it. There's not a day that I don't go in there and I'm looking around just in awe of everything that's going on. And it doesn't matter what you do. You know, at NASA, you can cut the grass and you can still be a part of the space program. So it's a wonderful place to be. And I'm so thankful every day when I go there.
One of the things that we saw a lot in this video, Gabe, was the diversity. Exactly, you're saying about all the things that you can see happening around you. I went into the NASA site this week, and I was amazed by how many different things NASA is doing all the time. You know, things that we always think of, you know, the rocket launches and the shuttle launches, but there are all sorts of different research being done all the time. And I was struck by the motto, the mission of NASA, and it talks about benefiting all of humanity. I mean, that was something that struck me, that if you like, a national space agency should talk about that, doing things for all of humanity in such a diversity of different things, and it really inspirational. But sorry, you have a question.
Yeah, now we'd like to ask you something more related to the future of space and the future of space exploration. Nowadays we have Elon Musk and many other brand owners, right, that are very interested in going to the space. And recently we've been following the extraordinary achievements with the Mars rover, sending us pictures and footage from another planet, something that has always been in the realm of science fiction, but are now actually happening, right? And what do you think about it? Like, will we have humans on Mars anytime soon? What about the moon exploration? And what are your hopes, concerns, and expectations regarding to the exploration of space, Mars, the moon, right?
Yeah, well, you know, I think it's a very exciting time all around the world, not just in America, but certainly in America. But, you know, right now, and I talk to kids a lot, if you want to get in the space program, there's not a better time than right now, because you not only have countries trying to go, you have many commercial companies trying to go, like SpaceX, like Boeing. We have many different companies in America that are launching their own space programs, some with the support of NASA. But all of that is great, because the more competition we have, the better the product will be. And it really helps when someone else is doing something that you're doing, and you want to be the one to do it first. So that accelerates, to me, the product to be completed. I think it's an amazing time for anyone interested in the space program. The future is, of course, seems to be to go to Mars. This is something, you know, India wants to go to Mars, China wants to go to Mars, Russia wants to go to Mars, America wants to go to Mars, SpaceX wants to go to Mars. So there's a lot of things that are happening, to me, to accelerate the process. But what people don't understand getting to Mars is probably doable tomorrow, but surviving on Mars is a challenge. So if we go to Mars, it takes us 7 months to get there. So you have to stay in a capsule for 7 months. You have to stay mentally and physically alert. That's the first challenge. And once you get there, because of the way the planets go around the sun, they're further away. You have to wait until they're close enough to come back. So you have to stay 23 months before you can come back. So just going to Mars and coming back is over 3 years. So this is the challenge. We can't breathe the air on Mars. We can't drink the water. It's a hostile environment. It's very, very harsh. And so a lot of things have to be done to prepare to go to Mars and stay for 23 months. Is it doable? Oh, most definitely. I believe people will be on Mars. For me, I say within 20 or 25 years. A lot of others think it may be sooner, and it might. I hope it is. But I think realistically, with all of the complications to get to Mars, they're going to have, to me, stage a bunch of things on Mars. If you've ever seen the movie The Martian, this depicts, I believe, what it will be like in the future. People will be living in a domed area where they can breathe the air and they can drink the water, and they don't need a spacesuit to survive. But anytime they leave that domed area, they will have to put on a spacesuit to protect themselves. Radiation is a huge issue on Mars. Mars's atmosphere is thin, so the radiation comes through much stronger than on Earth. And also the huge sandstorms, dust storms that engulf the whole planet for months at a time. So if you have an oxygen system, or you have some kind of system that's allowing you to survive in a domed area, that's going to have to be protected from this environment and these sandstorms. And so a lot of things have to be thought through, and a lot of things have to be resolved before anyone can go to Mars and safely return. But it's in the future. People always say, let's colonize Mars because Earth is, we may have problems, but I don't think colonizing Mars is realistic. Maybe in 100 years, 200 years. Let's focus on making sure the Earth, we can do the best we can to preserve the Earth. This is my main focus. Let's protect the Earth. We can go to these other countries. America wants to go back to the moon, I think, in 2024. So this seems to be going on schedule. But with many of these programs, they hit monetary problems or they hit technical problems. So if we actually do go in 2024, it would be great, but I would be surprised if we keep this. But we'll get there whenever we get there. Establish residency on the moon, learn to survive and it's not weightless, it's 1/6 of Earth's gravity, but learn to survive in a way that will prepare us to go to Mars. And hopefully the things we learn on the moon, we can take with us to be better prepared on Mars. And the little helicopter and Perseverance on Mars, if you've been following the feedback, it's amazing. It really is amazing. This is almost 500 million kilometers away, and it's like I'm talking to you. It's somebody could be next door. The videos have been fantastic. And China has a big presence on Mars now, and they are also exploring and sending back cool pictures and videos as well. So a lot of good things are going on right now, and I think it's a great time to be a part of this space program.
Yeah, it's actually amazing. I really think so. What do you think, Gabe? Would you like to go to space? I mean, you're already a NASA engineer. I mean, there's not much to go on top of that. What do you think for the future?
For me, I would love to go to space. I would love to go to the moon. I don't know if I would want to go to Mars because that's a minimum of 3 years to be away, and there's no beach, there's no sports. I mean, it would take away from my life in a way that I don't think I would want to give up 3 years to do it. But to go to the moon, it's only 3 days. So I quit my job. I resigned my position on the Space Center about 5 years ago to become a full-time speaker. So once I became a full-time speaker, I still go out to the Space Center, but I don't go out there to as a job or anything. I go out there for fun. But for me, when I was going to Space Center, every day when I went to work, every single day I brought a little bag with me. And if they say, Gabe, we have one seat, I'm gone. I was packed and ready to go. So if I had the opportunity, I would definitely go to space. And like I said, to the moon, 3 days, you stay there a week, you come back 2 weeks. I think it would be awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful. A question. You inspire a lot of people with what you talk about, your life story and everything. But where do you go for inspiration? When things are a little bit difficult, maybe not working out very easily, what do you do? Where do you seek your personal inspiration to keep going ahead, to revert a difficult situation? What do you do?
Well, I follow those three things that I suggest everybody else do. You know, it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what you do. It only matters how you enjoy what you do. So I try to approach each day as a day totally independent from everything else that preceded it or anything else that comes after. And no matter what I do, I try to do the best I can. I challenge myself. I build cars. I work cars. Sometimes I will do something right-handed and do it left-handed just to challenge myself to see how well I can do it under different situations. So, you know, and I always have fun. It doesn't matter what I do. I have fun doing it. I joined a swim team. You mentioned my buddy Randall, who's blind. So when we are doing triathlons, you know, I'm guiding him through a swim. So I have to be a good swimmer because we're over our head in water and nobody knows he's blind. We're attached with about a 5-meter bungee and I have to guide him through the swim. So in triathlons, the swim portion is first. And if you're in somebody's way, they're going to kick you, they're going to punch you, they're going from A to B. And it's your responsibility to get out of their way. So I realized I had to become a better swimmer. So I joined the swim team. I had no idea what I'm getting myself into. We're swimming 4,000 meters a day, 5 days a week. So I've been doing this, and this is a tremendous challenge. But I always try to do my best, and I follow those three things. And I've developed a very strong belief in myself just by overcoming challenges along the way that I really believe I can do anything. So I never really have stress. I never really have pressure. Nothing is ever hard. I make it easy by just challenging myself to enjoy it. You know, other people will think, oh, this is so hard. There were times at work they would say, hey, Gabe, we have something for you to do. It's really hard. No, just give it to me. I can do it. No, it's really hard. No, I can do it. No, you don't understand. It's really hard. No, I can do it. And they look at you like you're strange. Let's just give it to me. I can do it. And they don't understand this philosophy because they've been taught and it's embedded in them. Work hard, stress, pressure. That's all how people live. And if they see something they think is challenging, they immediately revert to that. And I just say, give it to me. I can go do it. I'll figure it out. You know, no matter what happens, the earth is going to spin and the sun is going to come up. It's just not that important. So you want to remind yourself to stay focused on doing the best you can, enjoying it, and believing in yourself. If you have that belief in yourself, you don't care. You just give it to me. I'll go do it. And it makes your life so simple. So I basically revert to those three things. And I kind of dreamt them up myself. And the way that happened was I'm on the Space Center in this magical environment, and we have all these amazing things around us. And I'm hearing people complaining, you know, this is negative and negative. And I'm thinking, what is wrong with you? You're in Florida. The weather's great. You're by the beach. We're watching rocket launches. How in the world can you be unhappy? And I just determined it was learned behavior. As they were growing up, they were told over and over, work hard, stress, pressure. So now they live it and they don't know they have a choice. They have no idea that they have a choice. So for me, when I'm speaking with students, my favorite age is 8 to 10 because they haven't been exposed to so much negativism. They just don't tune you out. They're really willing to learn, and they're willing at that age to look at different things. They haven't been so ingrained with this type of life that they still have options. And with universities, it's been really fun for me with universities. I went to my first university, I think about 3 years ago in Denmark. And I was a little wondering, well, how are university students going to respond to what I'm saying? They're so far along in life. But it was absolutely amazing. It turned out to be one of the best I ever did. And because of that, I've gone to many universities in Brazil as well. And I've really, really enjoyed them. So yeah, I kind of just take each day and I remind myself, you know, whatever I do, it's not that important, just to do my best. And if it doesn't work out, I'll do it again and try to get better. But always appreciate your effort. Always feel good about what you've done. The results don't matter if you've done your best. Feel good about your effort. That helps you build that confidence, which so few people have. I know some of these answers are long, but I really like to...
No, please, they're so rich.
Yeah.
That
You are so inspirational that we don't really care if it's long or short. Like, we just want to hear you.
Yes.
But you've just talked about enjoy what you do and enjoy life, live without all this pressure. But it's kind of hard to do. And well, I think everyone would agree with me, because there's too much pressure. The world nowadays doesn't help us. Like, living is low, and like enjoying life, enjoying everything, right?
Yes, but you have to understand, all this pressure and all this stress you do to yourself. Nobody does this to you. We all do it to ourselves. And we do it mainly because of lack of confidence. You are faced with a challenge. You said difficult. I never say difficult. I never say hard. I never say work. I say adventure, challenge, journey, opportunity. These are all things you want to think about. It's an opportunity to see how well you do. If you have an exam, it's an opportunity to show how much you've learned. If you prepared well and you feel good, you'll go through that exam and you'll do fine. Because you feel good about yourself. So everything comes from within to me. And if I can let students, especially you've been exposed to a lot of negativism, your mind is already taking you to this is difficult, this is challenging, I'm afraid I'm not going to do this, because you've been taught this is the way you live. But if you could unlearn that, and that's the most difficult part, or the most challenging part, once you've learned something, to try to unlearn it and replace it with something else is extremely challenging. Even if you're in a miserable situation, you're secure with that situation because you know it. To leave it and go to something else, even if it's better, is extremely challenging because you don't have that security that you know what's going to happen. So it's very, very challenging. And you have to do small steps. Again, if you have a dream, and I always talk about dreams and goals, if you have a dream, write it down and say, this is my goal. And ask yourself, what steps do I achieve? What steps do I take to achieve it? And then plan very, very small steps. Don't be in a hurry. As you build your confidence completing these steps, you will build and you build. And again, one day you will say to yourself, I can do anything. And I promise you, when you believe that, you will never stress. You will never have pressure. And if you learn to enjoy everything you do, you will always have fun. I was in the Air Force, and one time I was criticized because of being too happy. I was trying to get a promotion. I needed an endorsement from a general, and it had to go through this individual who never knew me, just saw me walking around. And he said, you don't deserve this. You're too laid back. And I found out that he had said this. He didn't say it directly to me, but he had said it. And I went to this person and I said, do you have any idea what I do? No. Well, why do you think I'm too laid back to do it well? Because you're always smiling. And I thought, wow, there's something wrong with always smiling. And he said, well, if you're smiling, you can't be doing anything because you have to be stressed and pressured to do something. And I got to explain to him, look, this is what I do. This is how I live. He became my best supporter when he realized what I was doing and how much I was doing, even though I was smiling. So it's a state of mind, not only for you, but for everyone around you. And if you smile and you're happy, people are going to think you're not doing anything. It's amazing. Or they're going to think you don't care. So this is a mentality that not only as an individual you have to overcome, but you have to overcome it from everyone around you who won't understand if you're smiling and happy. It's really crazy.
And like you said earlier on, Gabe, it's about living the present. It's about the small steps. I once read this analogy. It's a horrible image. But how do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So it's like anything, however big it is, you do it one bite at a time, and you build up on, like you say, on successes. And this idea you said before about living the present well, if you live the present well, you'll have a nice past. You'll have a wonderful future. And you use the word journey. I think this is so important. It's not about getting to that destination. It's about living the journey.
Right. And what people don't understand, accomplishing the goal is not what's most important. The journey to get there is what's most important. Because often we have a goal and we have something we think we want to do, and we get there, it's not necessarily what we want. Or we get there, we establish another one. So we're never really content. So if you've had fun getting there and it's not what you want, you'll jump and try something else. If you had a miserable time, stressed and pressured and no fun at all getting there, you don't want to do anything else. So accomplishing the goal, to me, is not what's most important. Enjoying the journey or the adventure to get there is most important, because we're never satisfied. I don't think we ever reach something and say, okay, I'm done, I'm good. We're going to establish something new, and you want to build on that. So yes, the journey is so important. And something I say to students, I want you to understand, you can never fail, never. Anytime you do something, if it doesn't come out the way you want, you learn so much, because you have to challenge yourself to overcome that. And when you do that, you become a wiser and better person. So sometimes you have to back up because things don't go as expected, but that's not negative. It's just, okay, that didn't work, I will try something else. And this is what you want to do, and stay positive. Never second guess decisions. I have a girl writing to me right now, and she's in Denmark, and she's so uncertain about her future. She just failed her high school in order to, she can't go on to university, which she wants to do. And she's so devastated. And I said, okay, look, you have to stop. You have to step back and look at your options. What options do you have? And try to pick the one you think is best for you and go do it and start over. Well, I'm 22. I'm too old for high school. No, you're not. You know, you're not too old for high school at 22. Yeah, you're older than most students for sure, but you're not too old. You know, I went to university 12 years after high school. So you can go at any time. And the main thing is to feel good each day. At the end of the day, you want to say to yourself, I had a great day. You know, I feel really good about what I did. If things went well, that sounds good. But you know, when things go well, you don't learn anything. When things don't go well, this is when you learn the most. So you can never fail. That's so important. Never be afraid to fail. And when I talk about Randall, my buddy, and I doing triathlons, I talk a lot about how we train together, how we build from the running, the swimming, the biking, the running, and how we have to be a team, and how important it is, and how you can never fail. This is things that you want to build into yourself and into your daily life. And it's challenging for you because you've been indoctrinated your whole life into, you cannot have fun. You have to work hard. You know, you are going to be surrounded by stress and pressure. This is life. And it's not. But everybody will tell you it is, because everybody has been taught this way.
Gabe, that's really amazing. I understand it. But what point of your life did you start this mentality? I believe it's not something that you always have, or did you? Because I don't know. I mean, it's a very, very nice mentality. It's a thing that I believe that everyone should realize. But it's hard, you know. I mean, even if I start today to tell me every day as I wake up these three things, I believe it will take me some time to fix that in my mind.
Yeah, because you have to replace it with something you're comfortable with. So even though you have this stress and you have this pressure and all this stuff around you, you're familiar with it and you're comfortable with it. And to leave that to go to something else, even if you think it's better, it's very, very challenging, because along the way, you're not going to know what to do, because you're not in that situation before where you're trying to have fun. Before, you just have stress and pressure and take that on and go forward, all stressed and all pressured. You think that's the way you do it. So you have to unlearn that. And it's very, very challenging. It takes a long time to unlearn something. For me, when I started swimming, I'd been by the beach. I've been swimming my whole life. I went to this swim instructor. He said, "You're terrible. You don't know how to swim at all." I said, "Wow, what do I have to do to correct this?" So he told me what I had to do, but I also had to unlearn a lifetime of what I had been doing. So it was for a little 3-year-old kid to jump in the water and learn to swim from the beginning is so much more easy than for me to have to unlearn everything I've been doing. And that's the same with you. You've been taught your whole life, this is the way it is. And what you have to do, you have to go slow. Don't be in a hurry to change. It would be nice if you could flip a switch and it would change, but it doesn't work that way. It takes time. So every day establish a little goal. I'm only going to take this day and I'm going to just focus on this day and see how I can enjoy it. And I'm going to do my best at everything. And I'm going to feel good about my effort. And you will start to feel good. Wow, I ate breakfast. Good deal. I did that. That was part of my day. And I enjoyed it. With the next step, you do that at the end of the day. Well, I had a pretty good day. I had no stress. I had no pressure. I had fun. And yet I did everything I wanted to do. So you can pass through life having stress and having pressure and working hard, or you can pass through life having fun. Either way, you're going to do it. The only difference is how you mentally perceive what you're doing. So you don't really change anything about how you do things. You just change how you see them. And if you can learn that and develop it to a point, again, where you say, I can do anything. And for me, I grew up very little confidence. I could play sports, but I couldn't do anything else. And McDonald's was a huge step for me because I learned I could flip a burger. I mean, that was nothing, but it was something. I could make fries. It was a starting step for me. And I joined the Air Force. And when I was in the Air Force, I had met this one guy. And this guy, to me, was everything I didn't want to be. Physically, I just thought this guy was just, negative in every way when I looked at him. But he was always happy. And he was always smiling. And I thought, what is with this guy? He should be in a corner hiding from the world because of the way he looks and acts. But I realized he really had fun with life, and he really, really was able to enjoy himself for what he was. And I looked at him, honestly, this happened to me twice. I looked at him and he said, if he can do it, I know I can do it. And that literally changed my life. When I was in the Air Force and just trying to decide whether to go to university or not, we had an engineer come in from university. He had just graduated university as a civil engineer. And for me, this guy, he could not spell his name. He could not make a sentence. He had no clue about anything. And I said, if this guy can get through engineering school, I can get through engineering school. So these two incidents, it's really strange. And I've never told anybody this before, but these two incidents in my life changed everything. And it was only my willingness, first of all, to look at it and say, okay, I can do this if he can do it. And it literally changed my life. And I've lived it ever since. And people always asking me, especially kids, and how old are you? How old are you? And I always say I'm 19. And they look at me really strange. And I say, well, I know I look a lot younger, but I'm really 19. And they look at me strange again. But this is a mentality. And I picked that age because for me, between 18 and 19, when I finished high school and my first year out of high school, when I was on my own, my whole life changed. So I don't want to leave that fun environment. So I'm basically having fun every day, the same as I did during that transitional year. And I've never stopped. And this is what I try to share with students around the world.
Gabe, unfortunately, this interview is never going to be able to allow us to ask everything that we want to ask, especially not just what we thought we would want to ask before the interview, but you've opened up so many different avenues for us to think about and explore. But what I'd like to ask is there anything we haven't asked about that you would really like to talk about, or you would really like to show us, so that we can take this with us this first time that we're meeting you, because I want to make it very clear that we're going to want to have you back online or in person at some point. We're going to want us to continue this conversation. But is there anything that we haven't asked about which you would really like to share with us?
Well, one of the things I'd really like to share is the magic of the space program. And
right.
And I tried to do that. And I would love to come back, and I would love to do the full presentation virtually and in person. This is what I've spoken with you is just a really small part of what I do. I speak a lot about dreams and goals and enjoying life, but I also share a lot about the magic of the space program, which is super, super fun. And I always try to do it with a positive spin. So I would like to show a shuttle launch because this is my time within the space program was the shuttle program. Before that was the Apollo program, which I was not a part of. And now it's going to the moon and to Mars, which I'm really not a part of because I'm no longer at the Space Center as an engineer. So my focus has always been on shuttle launches. And I remember that very first shuttle launch vividly. And also, I love sharing the magic of it. So I'm going to show a shuttle launch to you. And then, I'll be happy to answer any questions about anything. And if you would like to follow up with a presentation where I actually do the normal presentation, we can do that. We would need a translator, of course, but we can do that. And if I have the opportunity in the future, I would love to come to the university. That's for sure. So I'm going to pull the PowerPoint back up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a shuttle launch.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So one thing I want to show this slide. You mentioned STEM, but I talk about STEAM, which has IA in it: science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And we use arts. We bring it into math and science because it's so much a part of the mentality of people in the arts. They look at everything. They encompass everything. And in STEAM, you join arts and math and science, and you have a much better product. This is one of my favorite pictures because you see all of the billions of stars in our solar system. This is the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building. This is where so much happens. Anything that goes to space, it's put together or assembled in this building. I do race cars. That's one of the cool cars I race. I like to drive it to work every once in a while, and I race it on the weekends. So, I am doing that as well. So this is what a shuttle looks like when it launches. Now, I mentioned to you earlier on the Space Center, we're 5 kilometers away from the launch pad. And 5 kilometers away, it's really, really special. And what I usually talk about is I want you all, whatever you're doing right now, I want you to stop. I want you to think to come to Florida with me. And we're all going to be engineers. We're going to be working at Kennedy Space Center. And we're sitting there at our desk, and we're with other engineers, or we're designing something. And they make an announcement. They say there's going to be a launch in 20 minutes. So we put all our stuff down, and we go to the beach to watch the launch. And it's super cool because we're getting paid really good money to be an engineer, yet we go to watch the launch. So when we go out to the beach, there's another public address system. And I showed you the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building. Next to that is a Launch Control Center, an LCC. And in the Launch Control Center, they're watching this launch, and they're monitoring all of the systems on this launch. And there has another public address system. And we hear the engineers speaking to the launch director. So one engineer will say, this system is good, this system is good, this system is good. And then when all of the engineers, and there's about 100, when they all talk to the launch director, everything is good, they say, go for launch. So we're out at the beach, and we're listening to all this, and it's getting more and more exciting. So what happens with a shuttle launch? For those of you, I'm sure many of you have flown on a plane. So if you've flown on a plane, you get on at the passenger terminal. You get on the plane, it goes on a taxiway to a runway, and it will normally stop. And they build up the engines. You're sitting there, and you hear the engines getting more and more powerful. When they get enough power, they release the brake, and it takes off horizontally. Well, this does the same thing, but it's taking off vertically. So it's locked down on the launch pad. When they start the engines, it's trying to take off. It can't take off, but it's locked down. So it's what happens. It's amazing. We're 5 kilometers away. You can see it because it's a little dot, and you can't really hear it, but it's there, and you can feel it in the air. So when they set this thing up, when they launch it, the engines start up, and it's trying to take off, and it's got 3 million kilos of lift pushing against the earth. So when they start the engines, it's trying to take off, and it's locked down. As it builds up power and power, you really can't see it, you really can't hear it, but you feel it. You get a vibration in your feet and through your legs. It's literally shaking the earth. And so all of the cars feel it too. So all the cars' alarms are going off. Horns are honking, lights are flashing, sirens are going off. You got this magical sensation in the air. And when it takes off, it's amazing. So I want to show you the launch. The first thing you're going to see inside this tank is liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen, which are two gases converted to a liquid. They become super cold and they become a liquid. Inside that tank, it heats up in Florida, and anything that gets hot, it expands. So gases vent out all around the orbiter. They don't want to launch that way. The whole thing might go up in flames. So the first thing you see igniters at the bottom of the orbiter. They're sparks. They're burning off any vented fumes. And the next thing you see looks like smoke, but it's actually steam. They put 3 million liters on the launch pad for heat and noise suppression. Let me see. So the first thing you'll see, these igniters at the bottom of the engine. They're burning off any vented fumes. And then they fire the engine up. And this, see, it's locked down. It can't take off. That's the steam from the water. And it's building up power and building up power. And this is when your whole body is shaking. All the alarms are going off, all the sirens, the lights are flashing. It's just so magical. So there's 7 astronauts on this shuttle. For the first 2 minutes, they bounce around quite a bit. After 2 minutes, the boosters come off. The boosters actually have explosive bolts that blow them apart. The boosters fall off. And then about 10 kilometers above the water, a parachute opens, they fall gently in the water. A ship goes out, they're picked up, brought back and reused. Just like SpaceX reuses it, so NASA was doing this 40 years ago, but they were not coming back to the pad. Then the orbiter and the tank go up in orbit, the tank falls off and burns up in the atmosphere. So this is what it's like for shuttle launch, and this is what I like to try to share with you because it's so much fun.
As you said, it's just so amazing, right? Just so magic, right?
Oh, it's awesome. I never get tired. And when I show that movie, I'm not watching the movie. My mind is taking me back to the reality of what I've seen and what I've experienced. And I went to every one, and day, night, the night ones are even more spectacular. When we do a real presentation, I can show you something about that as well.
And how many shuttle launches were there, Gabe?
There was, I believe, 135. Yeah, the last one was 135. So a couple of them may have been tests, I'm not sure, but there was around 135. And I think I maybe saw 50 of them. I'm not sure. I saw as many as I could.
But the shuttle, we don't use the shuttle anymore.
No, and the reason for that, the main reason for the space shuttle was to build the International Space Station. It was the only thing large enough and powerful enough to take the big pieces to space to build the space station. So once the space station was completed, the shuttle mission was done, and that's why it stopped flying.
Guys, do you have any last and final questions so we can use this precious time with Gabe? Or
can I show you one more movie?
Please show us whatever you like, Gabe. Please, we'll love it.
I would really like to do the whole presentation because there's so many parts I've skipped, but I just want to show you this movie because what happens, and your introduction was amazing. I really don't like big introductions because I'm just a guy having fun with life, and how I've accomplished all those things. I've never really been goal orientated. My goals have always been to enjoy what I do, to do my best. Those 3 things, that's my goals every day. And it never was to really take me someplace in the future. I figured if I took care of each day, the future would sort itself out. And this is part of that optimistic and that belief in yourself. And something else you want to say to yourself. If you can't do something, say to yourself, it's not because you're incapable, it's because you don't want it badly enough. So you want to think, I can do anything. And the only thing that stops me is myself. because I don't want to do it badly enough. And so you always build that confidence. But I've been to 14 countries. It's amazing to me. I've been to 14 countries doing this around the world, and it's always so much fun. And I do this with kids from 5 years old through university, and each is fun in its own way. But I basically do the same thing. I show the same movies, but I speak with the audience a little different depending on where they are in their life. But one question I get asked, no matter what country, no matter what age, I get asked this question over and over, and it's always the same thing. Hey, Gabe, I'm up in space. I got to go to the bathroom. How do you go to the bathroom in space? So this is a Canadian astronaut. He's been on the space station, and he's going to tell you how you go to the bathroom in space. So when I do the full presentation, I will go into all of these movies and all of these things a little bit differently. One thing I like to talk about, and I'll show you in a second. This is my buddy Randall, my BFF. We do the triathlons together. So this for those of you, and I always say to you, listen, no matter where you go, what you do, Randall, who does everything despite being blind, he's going to be with you. And he's going to tell you, look, I'm blind. I can do it. So can you. So don't ever think you can't do something. Randall is going to be with you. I'm going to be with you. We're going to say, you can do this. Don't think you can't. And remember, you can never fail because you always learn. The flat earth people. I want to tell you about the flat earth people. If you meet someone who says to you, the earth is flat, all you do is say yes and walk away. Don't waste your time trying to argue with them. Don't try to change their mind. Just say yes and walk away. But we know the earth is round. So this is Perseverance. This is what's on Mars right now. Perseverance is super cool. And one of the things it's going to do, it's going to take samples and it's going to store them. And then we're going to have ships go to Mars and pick them up and bring them back to Earth. It's also something called MOXIE, which is going to take the oxygen from the carbon dioxide and create it into breathing air for astronauts. This is Ingenuity, the little helicopter that's sending us back all of these pictures. This is what astronauts believe, or scientists believe Mars looked like billions of years ago. They think it was a lot like Earth. That's why they think there may be life on Mars. Okay, so this is the Canadian astronaut. He's going to tell you how you go to the bathroom in space.
When you go to the bathroom on Earth, you're relying on gravity pretty heavily. Imagine if you were halfway done and somebody shut off gravity, it would be a mess. And you'd float off the toilet. So when we designed our space toilet, first it has to have a seatbelt on it to hold you down. And then we decided to separate solids and liquids because they're easier to store that way. So we just have a tube that you pee into, and it has air pulled into the tube. So it's not a big deal. For the women, there's a cup fits up against them. For the guys, it's just like a little funnel. You just pee into this tube, and it goes into a sewage tank. But the solids that come out of your body, that's a harder problem to solve. And it's an important medical one, because on Earth, everything falls on the floor. But in space, it's going to float around. So it'll really make you sick. If you re-ingest something that came out of your body, it will really make you sick. And we can't afford to get that sick. So we designed a toilet that instead of gravity pulling everything into the toilet, it has air flow. There's air pulled down into the toilet. Sort of windy when you're sitting there, but it pulls everything out of your body. Everything that comes out of your body gets pulled down into the toilet by the air. And then in the storage tank, we just expose that to the vacuum of space. So it basically just freeze dries everything. So it kills all the bacteria so that there's no smell. And then we just store it. And then when you have a whole bunch of it stored, we put it in a little unmanned supply ship and we undock it and it burns up in the atmosphere. So the next time you see a beautiful shooting star going across the sky, that's what it might be.
That's perfect. Yes, it's taken. I once here in Brazil we have a place called Pantanal where you can see the night sky beautifully, and I once saw 15 shooting stars. So I'm wondering if maybe the space station was passing by at that moment.
Cleaning.
But I always like to talk a little bit about that movie after you've seen it, because it's really important. You guys are older, but sometimes little kids, I'm never wishing on a star again. It's gross. It's coop. And I tell them all this, but they just remember that movie. But it's a comical way of saying what happens in space. You really can't see that. And we all wish on stars. From the time we're little kids, our whole life we wish on stars. And I always say, if you see a shooting star, make a wish. Go home, write it down, say this is my goal. And ask yourself, what steps do I take to achieve it? And just go do it. And remember those three things. Do your best, enjoy what you do, believe in yourself. Do your best is very, very simple. Challenge yourself no matter what it is. Do your best, feel good about your effort. Enjoy everything you do. It doesn't matter. You can find positives in everything. I one time had a girl in a university say to me, well, I hate this course. Why do I have to take this course? I don't need it. I said, but listen, it's a step. It's a positive part of what you're doing. So instead of looking at it negatively, look at it as a step. It's just a step. And when you complete that step, feel really good because it was more challenging than the other steps, and use that to build your confidence. And the most important, again, believe in yourself. And you have to do that by going slow and taking small steps. Don't be in a hurry, and understanding you can never fail. You can only learn, and you never lose anything when you learn. You become a better and wiser person. So this is always my message, and this is what I want to leave you with, to just enjoy your life and know that you can and be successful. No stress, no pressure, never work. This is why should you be. And I live this way. I'm no different than anybody else. Sometimes they think you work for NASA, you're really special, you're super smart, or you're something they could never be. But I'm a burger flipper from McDonald's, a beach bum, a guy who loves having fun. And if I can do it, you all can as well. It's only mental, 100% mental.
Gabe, wow, thank you so much for that. And so much information, but much more, so much inspiration. Thank you so much. We want you back for the full presentation. Okay, if it can't be in person at this moment, we want it online, but to be followed up in the future in person. I want to thank very much everyone who's here with us at the moment. Jan, thank you so much for the questions. Enzo, thank you to Isaac. Thank you so much to Charles for inviting me so I could take part in this interview, which has been truly inspirational. And so I'm not going to say goodbye. I think we're going to say, hopefully, see you soon. And thank you so much for everything you've brought us this morning. And hopefully, at another moment in the near future, we can be together again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jan or Enzo, is there something you would like to add?
You said quite well, Martin. But Gabe, you don't realize, but this was a very, very important interview, a very important talk to me. I'm in time of my life that I have to make a lot of decisions, and you helped me a lot. Thank you guys for the invitation. I really enjoyed it. It was amazing. It was amazing. You are a remarkable person, Gabe.
Thank you so much. So I would just like to say, yes, I look forward to the opportunity to do the presentation. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's really simple. Life can be fun. It's 100% mental. I thank you all. Muito obrigado. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And hopefully I will get there in person sometime in the future. And anytime you want to speak with me, I will make sure I have the time available. And if you guys want,
thank you very much.
If you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Gabe Gabrielle. You can follow me on Facebook. I have 5,000 friends, which is the max. I can't accept friend requests, but you can follow me or private message me. If you private message me, I will answer. I answer every message I get, everyone. So sometimes it might take a day or two, but I answer everyone. And if you private message me and I don't answer, do it again. It's okay. Sometimes I have the volume is so much, if I don't answer them right away, every day that I don't answer them, I get more and more. So sometimes it's hard to keep up with the hundreds and hundreds of messages I'm getting, but I will always answer one way or another. I promise that to everybody.
Well, thank you so much, Gabriel. Gabe. I think above all, for the inspiration, but the humanity. I think it's the humanity that we experienced today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching. And like I said, this is the first in a series. We hope in the next few weeks to be producing, have another couple of interviews. And we're looking forward very much to the next time we can speak to you, Gabe. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. See you soon. See you soon.
See you.
I always say see you later.
See you later. See you later. Yes.
I never say goodbye. I say see you later.
Very good. See you just now. Just now. See you later.
Gabe, but I'd love to have you at school. It would be amazing, like presentially, face to face. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we can't do that now. But in the future, of course, here is my invitation as a student, and I represent all of us, and we'd love to have you there. So thank you very much for this interview. I just love it. Of course, it changed my day. Now it's in the morning, 11 a.m., but it changed everything. I started my day better. So thank you very much, Gabe.
Yeah, and I get so much from this. People think I do a lot, but just from the words from you makes me feel so good, because I know I helped you to see things in a better way. But my part is always small. You know, I say to the students all the time, I offer suggestions. You have to be willing, first of all, to listen to the suggestion. You have to be willing to interpret it, and then adapt it to your lifestyle, and then you have to change. So I don't ever want you to think I'm doing this because of Gabe. I want you to think I'm doing this because of me. You know, I started the idea, but you had the courage and the determination to take it into reality and adapt it to your life. And this gives me so much joy. People always saying to me, you could charge so much money. Why don't you charge money? They talk negative things about me. They don't understand. What I get is way more than I give. And I don't know why, but I feel it. And I feel the connection with the students. It's always magical.
So thank you for this magical experience. Thank you.
It's for me as well. So again, right. And hopefully I will see you soon. Yes.
Here in Rio de Janeiro. I think that's all we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much. I'm now going to pass to Isaac to close. But Gabe, we have your email, and we are going to follow this up. Okay, I'm going to get on to Charles and make sure that he follows this up, so that we can already work on second moments together, and we can see the whole presentation. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I look forward to it.
See you guys.